This is interpreting graphs of linear functions, and this is page M227. So again, interpreting is that context where you're finding the meaning. So if we analyze and interpret the graph, we're not actually going to write all of this, but interpret the meaning of the origin. So Marilyn sells silk screen t-shirts for her mom at a local festival. After each festival, she returns whatever money she earns to her mom. The graph shown represents her potential earnings based on the number of t-shirts. So this first question asks to interpret the meaning of the origin. So right here. So if you think about potential earnings, or how much money she's earned, and the number of t-shirts. Well, if I'm looking at 0 shirts, how much money has she earned? Well, $0. So 0 shirts means she's earned $0. Sorry, $0. So that's what that means right there. Selling 0 shirts, selling 0 shirts means $0. Okay, now it says write a function. Remember, function equals equation. Okay, so and notice it's E of t. So E is earnings, and then that number inside of that is telling you shirts. So I'm going to go over here into my notebook, and I'm going to move this out of the way. But so notice on my notebook it says interpreting graphs, and then it says and function notation. I know we haven't done function notation in a while, but we're going to do E of t. So E would mean earnings for however many shirts. Okay, so remember to write our equation. We need slope and we need the starting value. So I'm going to point out those things on our graph. So I always like to look on my graph for the points that cross exactly, and I like to mark them so I know where I'm finding my slope. Okay, now let's think about what this axis is going by. So we have 0, something, 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 50, and then something, 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 100. Excuse me. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines before 50. So of course that would mean 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Okay. So I'm going to zoom in just so you guys can see what I'm marking a little bit better. So if I want to find the slope to write our equation, notice that went up 30, and then it's going over. Well, let's see what this axis is going by. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines to 5. So that just means each line is worth 1. So it goes from 0 to this one, which is 2. So it would be 30 over 2. Think about the meaning of that in this problem. So it's going up 30. Notice this axis right here is dollars. So it's going up $30 for every 2. I marked it, but you can see it, 2 shirts. So it's $30 for 2 shirts. I don't want to know what the cost is for 2 shirts. I want to reduce that. 30 divided by 2. Use your calculator, or I just know that one is 15. So it's $30 for 2 shirts, or $15 per shirt. Okay, so in our equation, we're going to have E of t equals, so think about y equals mx plus b. Remember, the m is our slope. The b is our y-intercept, or starting value, or initial value, or whatever you remember best. So our slope, we just found it as $15 per shirt, so it's 15 per shirt. So number of t-shirts, so our T represents, notice this is our input, so T equals number of t-shirts. So we're going to do times T, then plus, remember that's the y-intercept. Well, if you look at that graph, for 0 shirts, how much did she earn? She earned $0, so you would put 0 there. So 0. So E of T equals 15 times the number of t-shirts plus 0. So really, our equation would be E of T equals 15T. Okay, I'm going to flip to the next page. So remember, T is t-shirts. So T equals t-shirt. E of T, remember in function, that's terrible writing, sorry, that was way too close together. E of T equals earnings off of shirts. Okay, so now this is where we're going to be interpreting the meaning. So E of T. So if you look at this, E of T means earning for, remember it's for the number of shirts, so in this case for 2 shirts. This one would be earnings of 5 shirts, earnings of 2.75 shirts. So there's a few ways you can do it. If we look at this graph over here, I know that it's 2 shirts is right there. Well, it's $30. But I personally like to use the equation more, but that's completely up to you. So if it's E of 2, notice the T needs to be 2. So it would be 15 times 2. And I'm going to go ahead and write 15 the same color as above, just so that you see the 2 is what changed in that equation. So what is 15 times 2? 15 times 2 is 30. So the earnings off of 2 shirts is $30. So earnings off, or earnings of 2 shirts equals $30. So that's what that means there. Okay, the next one was earnings of 5. So we're going to do E of 5 equals, again, it's $15 per shirt. So you're going to do 15 times 5 in this case. $15 times 5 is 75. So the earnings off of 5 shirts equals $75. So 5 shirts equals $75. Okay, now this next one, earnings of $2.75. Or not $2.75. Remember, that's the number of shirts. So can she sell 2.75 shirts? No. So this problem doesn't work. Cannot sell 2.75 shirts. So you have to pay attention to if the decimal represents the number of shirts or if that represents the amount earned. Since it was E, just like earnings of blank shirts, just like we wrote here, E of T is the earnings of numbers of shirts. So So that 2.75 does not make sense in this problem because you can't sell 2.75 shirts. Just like we always talk about, you can't, who would want to sell 55 pineapples? You wouldn't. Okay, so we're almost done. If you look at this next problem, and it says, Miriam has a goal to earn $100 at the festival. Let's consider how to determine the number of t-shirts she needs to sell to meet her goal. So E of t equals 15t. Notice that $100 right there is the amount earned. So she took the E of t, the amount earned, and wrote out 100. Now, so she wants to make $100, and it's $15 per shirt, so she just divided 100 by 15 and got 6.67 t-shirts. So the t equals 6.67, so sell 6.67 shirts. But can you sell 6.67 shirts? No, she can only sell, she would either have to sell 6 or she would have to sell 7. Now, if she wants to make at least $100, would she want to sell 6 or would she want to sell 7? So let's look at that. So if we do $15 times 6 shirts, notice she only makes $90. What if we do 15 times 7? So 105. So she must sell 7 shirts to make $100. So the last lesson that we did, we talked about tickets, selling the tickets or buying tickets. You couldn't spend more than the 20, but this one, if you're wanting to earn 100, you would have to sell more than the number, and you would always have to round it up. So that is, we're not going to do this one. You can look at it if you want. They just used the graph to do it, and I'll show you over here. So what they did is they marked over to 100, and they said, well, it's right in here. So notice this is 5, 6, 7. So if you look at that, to get to $100, it's somewhere between 6 and 7. So you would actually want to sell 7. I don't like the way they worded it, but since it's right in there, again, you would just round up and say you need to sell 7 t-shirts to make $100.